Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Derek.
Hey everybody, how are you?
We are back covering General Hospital in 1992, the Brenda years. Even though Brenda's kind of been a side player, but hopefully her story will pick up soon.
Yeah.
Today we are discussing episodes that aired from November 16th to November 30th, 1992. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get into it. Okay, so Felicia. So you had texted me that it was dragging, and
Mm-hmm.
the first episode I was like, oh, I wonder why he thinks that.
Mm-hmm.
But by the second episode, I was like, oh, I see what he's talking about. So we pick up in the cabin with Felicia. It's a little bit of a replay, but then we get to her stabbing the shit out of Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of see her shadow just
Mm-hmm.
going at it. Mac walks in and kind of intervenes, and she's kind of like crazed. She doesn't even realize that it's Mac that separated her from Ryan at first.
Yeah.
Um, so I was actually really like into this. I thought the actress Christina Wagner was doing a great job.
Yeah.
It was once they got to the part where they were at the police station all the time and they were constantly questioning her
Mm-hmm.
and kind of flipping it on her as if she were the murderer that I
Mm-hmm.
was getting really frustrated and bored, and I was
Same.
sick of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan is not dead, even though at one point I thought he was,
Mm-hmm.
because when Felicia was in a hospital room, Garcia, I think, said to Sean, "You want me to bag him?" And when I heard bag him, I thought body bag, so I thought he was dead
Mm-hmm.
or dead because I know he's in the future.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like really shocked because these are his coworkers,
Mm-hmm.
and like I can't believe Ryan was the killer, and I can't believe that he would do that to Felicia. And
Yeah.
it's almost like they're questioning
Whether it's true or not.
whether it's true or not. Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong. Prior to this, when Felicia was in the cabin with him, weren't they trying to get some kind of DNA or photo evidence of
Or
who the
Todd
killer
Wilson.
was?
Yeah.
And I thought they figured out that it was Ryan. So shouldn't that kind of factor in?
No, they figured out that the fingerprints that they found didn't match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that explains a lot. So Jessica is the DA.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember that now. Yeah.
And I'm starting to see some of her spiciness that you've warned about.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
She's got a vendetta against Scotty because he does not want to be partners with her
Yeah.
in law, partners in law, not in love.
Mm-hmm. And love.
Or love. Him and Dominique are frustrating also because I feel like they keep breaking up to make up, and the breakups are for stupid things.
And their fights are really fucking stupid. I'm just like, why are you fighting about this?
He was like trying to work, and she was like kissing him and caressing him, and he was like, "Nope, I got a lot to do," because he's trying to get like a case together in
Right.
case. I don't know whose side he's going to be on. Tiffany's, if there's a lawsuit.
I think he's representing Bobby. At least I think.
Okay, so whoever he's representing, he's just trying to get a case together in case it does go to
Right.
court.
He's also representing Felicia, so it's
Right. So he's
on.
opened this law firm on the docks, and he's very busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember like what prompted them to start fighting, and she like stormed out, and they were like, "We're getting divorced." I'm like, "What?"
It was really a dumb thing. It was something really stupid, and I'm just like, this is why they're fighting, really.
And the whole divorce hearing was very unrealistic, I guess.
Very, very. And the judge is like, you clearly love each other.
And
Like,
she like rips up like I'm like, is that how that works? If the judge doesn't believe that you guys are not in love, you can never get divorced. Like
right? The judge decrees you're staying married. Okay, it's so weird.
she's like, you're wasting my time. I have people that actually don't want to be together waiting.
Exactly.
um AJ's birthday happens in this batch of episodes,
hmm
and he's down in the dumps because of Nikki.
Yeah,
But Alan and Monica want to take him out to dinner, even though she's worked all night and she's exhausted.
yeah,
Um, we saw Dr. Eric. Remember, I was like, "Where's this guy, Dr.
yes.
Eric?" That Nikki was
Finally,
like, who I still confuse with Tom, by the
yeah.
way.
He looks similar.
It's the blonde hair, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, this is Dr. Eric. So the nurses are kind of talking about what happened, and AJ hears it, and he's
Mhm.
like, oh, he's like, everybody's making fun of me or like feeling bad for me behind my back. And they're like,
Mhm.
no, like we don't understand what happened. Like, yeah, we feel bad, like, because it's messed up what she did to you. And
Right.
Eric's kind of like a dick. He's like,
You deserved it.
yeah, you deserved it. Nikki played you like a fool. So he like
Yeah.
punches Dr. Eric, and
Yeah.
they break him up. And Alan's like, you need to go see Dr. Tom. So I guess Dr. Tom's a therapist.
Yeah.
I thought he was a surgeon.
No, I think he was a therapist, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. But I really liked those scenes because he really did a great job, AJ, in those scenes. Like, I felt so bad for him.
So I did a little diving on the actor. Can't remember his name at this point. That plays Dr. Tom.
Gerald something.
So because he looked familiar, and I thought maybe I've seen him in something else. It was
hmm
probably Days of Our Lives in the 80s,
hmm
because so he was on Days of Our Lives, and he married the actress that played in real life, Lisa Trussell, who played Melissa Horton on Days. And I thought it was funny because Melissa Horton, his real life wife, was paired with Jack Devereaux, who's Matthew Ashford, who ended up playing Tom Horton
Oh, I
next on General
never
Hospital. So it
really
was like this weird circle that they like.
yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's an engineer now.
Oh, you don't
In
act.
case you were wondering.
Yeah. Usually they're real estate agents, but
Right.
different.
Well, I don't think they live in LA. I think if they stay in LA, they become real estate agents.
Yeah.
So where was I going with this? Oh, so AJ still thinks that Alan is got a private eye looking for Nikki.
Right.
Um and the private eye is like asking questions, and Alan's getting a little like so he like pulls him to the side, and he's like, how much do you want to not find anything?
Mhm.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and you called that a while ago.
What?
You called that a while ago in one of our previous podcasts. She's like, he could just hire someone and tell him not to look.
I think I was asking like, why doesn't he? Because he has the
Yeah,
money to do it. So I guess there you go.
correct. Yeah.
I still think that AJ's gonna find out though, and that's what's gonna lead to this actor leaving
I think so
before
too.
Sean Kanan comes back.
Yeah.
Did you say he stays through December?
Yeah. December 30th is his last air
Oh
date.
wow.
Yeah.
So then he's not gone very long, because I think Sean Kanan comes in February.
Yeah, he's not gone long.
Is that long enough to go to rehab?
I doubt he went to rehab. Maybe he goes to find Nikki after he finds out that Alan paid her off, and then he doesn't find her and comes back. Maybe that's what happened.
So I think I read that this actor is the first adult AJ,
Yeah.
and I think he was only on like a year or two.
hmm
Was he just like an alcoholic straight like from the minute he was like grown? Because I just feel like whenever anything goes wrong, he's like, I need a drink.
What's funny, AJ turned 20, and he was born in 79. I looked it up. That was the year I was born. So technically, he would have been like 13. Like, 14. They should age him.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that Jason is always looking out for him though, and trying to get him
No,
out
it's
to
so
drink.
sweet. So sweet. He's such a good brother.
Because it's a different Jason than I'm used to seeing, because I only know post-accident Jason.
Right.
I also like that Thanksgiving came around this time. I
Mhm.
was kind of hoping that it would be like a big Quartermain mess where they end up eating pizza that I've always heard about.
Yeah, I was so confused by that. I'm like, when does this Quartermain tradition start? Because there's the first we sing, then we eat, which is like Edward's thing,
Mhm.
and they didn't mention that. And something disastrous always happens with the turkey, and
Mhm.
they don't eat turkey; they always get pizza. So I was
Mhm.
like, is this like the last successful Thanksgiving in the Quartermains? Like, because I know what happened in the '90s. I'm guessing so. It wasn't '92.
Well, they get a new writer in '93, right? Because that's what brings Luke and Laura back.
Yeah.
So maybe from there on, that's what
Yeah, I'd
happens.
be interested to watch it, '93, because that maybe that's when on the whole Thanksgiving disaster starts.
I've actually never I may have seen one on, like, a SoapNet marathon, but I
Mhm.
couldn't can't remember. But I've always heard that there's always pizza on
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
yeah. Something always happens to turkey. It even happened this year in 2024 or 2023. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Mhm.
They should just not even cook a bird and save their
Yeah.
money and just buy pizza.
So maybe it started in '93 and it's been the last 30 years. It just hasn't worked out.
Um, so we didn't see Lucy for a very long time since we first saw
No.
her take that wig off, so much so that the first time we did see her, all it was her kind of pacing in a hotel room
Mhm.
and then having a flashback to the last time we saw her take the wig and everything off, like, that was
Right. Just like remind me that she was that lady.
it. So they, like, did that and didn't show her for, like, 2 or 3 weeks.
I know. I was like, what are they doing with Lucy? Like, when is she like back for good?
So, apparently there's a rave going on that Brenda wants to go to with Jagger,
Mm,
but he has to work, and she's like, "Ruby left me with the keys to close up," and she's like, "Can't you close early?" He's like, "Not if I wanna keep my job."
yeah.
So, he kind of he doesn't trick her, but he kinda says, "Maybe if I had some help, I could get out of here faster." So she kinda, like, sexually starts cleaning. She,
Mm,
like, busses the tables, takes her jacket off, which exposes some skin, and she's,
mhm.
like, wiping the table. But then I thought he was taking her home. I didn't think they were still going to the rave. But
Yeah.
the next day while they're at school in chemistry, they're exhausted, and sounds like they did go, and that
Mhm.
they were out all night partying.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, they tend to skip over things with the teens for sure.
Yeah. It just feels like a missed opportunity to kinda build and show the teams more, but,
Mhm.
of course, Karen's, like, eavesdropping and hears everything that they're talking about.
Mhm.
Apparently, they did not hand in their homework,
Yeah.
um, and Jagger tries to, I guess, copy Karen's, but she already handed hers in.
Right.
So then he asks if she has any notes, and she's just like, "Yeah, I got a note for you," and she's like, "Do your homework," or something like
Yeah.
that. So then Brenda's all like, "What are we gonna do? We're gonna fail." She's like, "Not that it matters." She doesn't really care because she's rich. But yeah.
Mhm.
So he comes up with an idea that they're just gonna scribble some stuff on paper, they're gonna hand it in.
Mhm.
He's no, she's gonna distract the teacher, and he's
Right.
gonna pull the chemistry emergency, sprinkler from the ceiling,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is gonna make all the ink smear, and then they can't get in trouble for not doing their homework.
Right.
So that's what they do.
Mhm.
And then they run out of the school. They basically
Yeah.
just cut class, and of course, Karen clocks that, and she's jealous.
Yeah.
But then her and Jason, only 2 people, go back into the chemistry lab to finish their projects,
Mhm.
and they start kissing, and they kinda start make they he kinda bends her weirdly, like, and they
Yeah.
kinda lowering down to the ground as if they're gonna do something on the school chemistry
Hmm.
lab floor. But the teacher walks in,
Yeah.
and they pretend like they dropped something, and that he's just like, "Oh, I'm so glad that some of my students take their projects seriously."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I thought that was weird. I'm sure Karen would have stopped him if he tried to take it any further, but
Mhm.
just the thought of them trying to have sex in school was weird, but at least for those 2 characters.
Yeah, because I don't think Karen would go there, especially at school.
Yeah. Um, I guess Karen being invited to Thanksgiving also means Rhonda's invited.
Yeah. Oh, Rhonda.
Oh, Rhonda. And she's questioning what happened to Nikki
Mhm.
and talking about how awful it is. And of course, AJ overhears this and she's like, "Oh my God,
Mhm.
AJ, I didn't know you were standing there." Yeah, Rhonda, stop talking about stuff that's not your business.
Right?
And that was one of the times he's like, "I need a drink." And Jason runs after him to stop him.
Mhm.
They have a nice brother scene. I think he gets them to come back, right, for dinner?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I laughed when Ned asked Edward if he wanted him to carve the turkey, and he was like, "You already stole my company from me." He's like, "I'm not gonna to let you take away the carving privileges too," or something.
Yeah.
I was like, they need to show him more. He's funny.
I love Edward. He's great.
I didn't think I would like this one, even though
Mhm.
is he the original or
Yes, he is.
yeah? But I
So,
do. I like him.
remember when they said in the dialogue, like, I think it was the last batch we watched, where he was, like, presumed dead for 2 years?
Yeah, because they
Okay.
said Lila talked to his picture every day.
Yes. So, I looked that up because I wanted to know, like, more about that. The actor was ill during that time, so he took time off,
Oh, okay.
and then he came back, and then he got ill again, and that's why he leaves in a few months from now, and that's when that John Angle takes over the role.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Hmm. That's interesting.
yeah.
I assume he passed away
Yeah, I don't
by
know.
now, anyway.
I don't know how long he lived after he left the show, but I think it was a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was them. Um, Tiffany, Bobby, Lucas. So
To me, this is
Tiffany
the most
seems to
interesting.
realize that she has to give up Lucas. She's just
Yeah.
prolonging it.
Mhm.
Um, and Bobby asks when she can have him officially.
Right.
And she's like, "How about tomorrow?" And she's like, "No, I promise him I'm taking to the park." And she's like, "How about the day after that then?" And she's like, "No, I gotta do this." Like it sounds like she's working, so it's like, why do you need Lucas if you're not even gonna be around? Um,
Mhm.
and then Bobby's just like, "Well, how about the day after that? How about the day after that?"
Tiffany is stalling majorly, and Bobby's like ready to give her an ultimatum. Like, you need to give him to me, like right now.
And then Sean kind of steps in and he's like, "When do you want him?" And she's like, "Tomorrow." And he's like, "Done." And Tiffany's
Right?
pissed. She's like,
Oh,
"What
she
do you
was
mean?"
livid. Oh my god.
um, but Tiffany ends up talking to Jessica,
Yeah. I
who
thought
put
Jessica was their lawyer, but maybe I got that wrong. I remember she's a district attorney now when they said it.
and this happens because Tiffany is a news anchor
Yeah, and she was there covering the trial for her.
for Felicia,
Right. Mhm.
right? So that's how she runs into Jessica,
Mhm.
and she talks to her about like the situation, and Jessica puts it in her head about suing for custody.
Right.
But then she kind of has a heart to heart with Bobby, heart to heart, and she basically tells her how she's having a really hard time
Mhm.
um, with the idea of having to give him up, but she knows that she has to. And Bobby kind of is like, "Oh, take as much time as you need." I'm like, that's not really a good advice because she's never gonna give him up.
Yeah.
She does the whole when I look at him, I see Cheryl, and it just makes it harder to give him up.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is gonna end up in court because she's not giving him up.
Mhm.
Um, Bobby even says, I know that feeling because Bobby had to give him up."
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's like empathizing. So she's like, take as much time as you need. I know the feeling. I can relate.
Mhm.
And they're hugging it out. Tiffany has a flashback to our conversation with Jessica, but then she looks like she's like, "No, I wouldn't do that to my friend," as they're like hugging. So
Mhm. Oh,
I'm
but she
sure
was.
because Bobby's like, it's not like you're never gonna see him again. She's like,
Right. That's what I don't get. Why doesn't Tiffany's Bobby's not gonna take Lucas out of her life.
yeah.
So, you know, but
Um, not Tiffany. Bobby actually is having Tiffany, Sean, and Lucas over for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And that seems like the prime opportunity for them to bring Lucas there and then leave him there.
You would think.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, I had a question. You may or may not know the answer to this. Did Jackie Zeman gain weight at some point? Because I feel like they were focusing a lot on her saying, I'm not going to pig out today. And I feel like she even said, I lost all that weight. I'm not going to sabotage it. So
I
did
have
she
no
like,
idea.
was she pregnant or like, did she lose a lot of weight?
I don't know when I know she has daughters. I don't know when she had them, but
I just felt like they were focusing on it for too long that it felt like it was
yeah.
something. Her and Felicia.
Mhm.
Um, Felicia's being charged and a bail is set.
Mhm.
And like you said, they skip over things sometimes.
Right.
So one episode ended with her bail hearing and it being set at a really high amount. I can't remember the
And then
amount.
the next episode she was
She was
out.
just out. She was home and it's never mentioned about the bail. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, okay.
they did say it. Mac posted her bail.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, where did Mac get $60,000? Like,
Right.
yeah.
It's fireworks.
Oh, got it.
Really? It's done for now. Yeah, because I watched some of it on my phone, so maybe that's why I didn't hear that Mac posted it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought it was like 50 or 60,000. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm like, oh, okay, she's out. But she's like, she wants no reminders of Ryan. Apparently, there was a rose bush or rose bushes that he planted, and she's ripping them out.
Yep.
Any toys that he gave to Maxie, she's like throwing
Yeah.
away.
About to say, yeah.
And I could see why. I was kind of relating to her with that. It was just like the police station stuff that I was like, oh, I was like, this is what he's talking about. It's
Mhm.
dragging. Um, so Lucy goes to some mansion to meet up with the guy that she was working for to steal this art.
Richard Halifax was the name.
Halifax.
Halifax, yeah.
And finds out that he does not live in that house and that the real owner has lived there for 20 years and was gone the last 3 months and she's been duped and she's not
Mhm.
getting paid for the job she did.
Right.
Don't know why she's broke, do you?
No idea.
Maybe that's something we have to find out.
Mhm.
He gives her $50 to go to New York City, which she takes.
Yeah.
um and then I was kind of confused because I didn't know like where she was, if she was going to Port Charles, leaving Port Charles. She
Mhm.
was in New York and then going back to Port Charles, but when she was in New York City, she got robbed. Somebody stole her suitcase like right away.
Mhm.
um, and then later on, another guy goes to sit by her and she freaks out because of that. And she has like pepper spray or whatever, and she's like spraying it in the air. And I was like, that's Lucy, I know.
Yeah.
um, but she makes her way back to Port Charles. She's spying on Scotty.
Mhm.
He's at Kelly's. I think this was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He's at Kelly's. They were like serving people that like didn't have anywhere to go. They told Ruby to go to Bobby's, and it was Jagger. I think it was Jagger, Scotty, and Dominique.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it was just those three serving. And I guess they're cleaning up. She sees Scotty, and she kind of is like inching her way into Kelly's. He has his back turned, but I think he senses that somebody's either looking at him
Right.
or just that somebody entered. And just as he's turning, Dominique comes like running out and is like kissing him or whatever. And Lucy like quickly like covers her face and then runs out of
I
Kelly's.
was like, how did they not see her?
Right.
Like, I don't get it. I guess the way they shot it, where they were like hoping people would be like, oh, he didn't see her, but I was like, I didn't get that.
Even if like Dominique was like coming out to kiss him, I
Right.
feel like through his peripheral vision he would have saw, which I think he did see somebody standing there because he actually
Yeah.
did run out of Kelly's to see if there was
Mhm.
somebody there, but Lucy was hiding. And then later, Jagger's on the docks. I guess he doesn't have anyone to spend Thanksgiving with.
Mhm.
And he has a flashback, and he's with two kids. I assumed one, the boy, was Stone.
Yes, Joan and Gina, those are his siblings. Yeah.
Does his sister ever come back grown?
Yeah, she's played by Nikki Cox.
Oh, you did tell me that at the very end.
Holly and Bill and the whole art thing and trying to figure out the whole.
I'm interested in that story the least.
Yeah.
They, their whole getting dressed up in disguises thing reminded me of Luke and Laura and their escapades, and I was just
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to recreate Luke and Laura in those moments, and it just wasn't working.
and I don't even know anything about Luke and Holly when they were together in the 80s to know if that's in
Yeah,
character
I
with
have no
them.
idea.
So I know that Holly was a spy, right?
Yeah.
So that
Well,
could be in her wheelhouse. I just don't really
well, yeah.
care
So
about
I used
that.
to like going up to New York City to find out what happened with the artwork. Sean wants them to stay out of it, and then he got really angry with them at Kelly's when he found out that they were meeting with that guy who um, was involved or knew someone that was involved with the whole heist.
Hmm.
Yeah,
They got didn't he arrest them when they were like in disguise?
I think so. Yeah, he did arrest them. Yeah,
There
and
was a
Lucy
funny scene
was impressed
where
with
Lucy was kind of hiding in a
it.
department store when
Yeah.
Bill and Holly were shopping for dresses or whatever.
Hmm.
He was like, "You put this on," and she was like, "You put it on." He's like, "It's not my size," or "I don't know if it's my color."
Yeah,
They are funny. I do. I don't hate them.
yeah.
I just don't like this art
I
story.
don't like. I don't either. It's not really holding my
We
interest.
didn't see Sly though, right?
No, we did not see
Which
Sly.
was nice. It was a welcome break.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, so one interesting thing we found out in the dialogue was that I thought this was interesting. Jessica represented Nikki in the malpractice suit she had against the hospital, so people really don't like her from that whole thing. Like people at the hospital.
right.
Yeah. So and then Jessica was trying to get Ryan's statement at the hospital, and she was like waiting for him to
Okay,
wake
that
up.
was ridiculous. He's like
Yeah.
unconscious,
Yeah.
and he has like a tube in his
And
mouth,
she's
and she's
just
like
sitting
trying to
there
talk
by his
to him.
bedside waiting
She's
for
like,
him to wake
nod
up.
your head or like blink. I'm like, he's not conscious.
He's not gonna wake up. Sorry. Like you're not gonna get what you're looking for there.
And she's like really nasty to Bobby. She's like, "Don't you have bedpans to clean or whatever?" And Bobby's
Yeah.
like, That's when she mentioned Monica is his physician, and she's not going to be happy that you're in here.
Right, exactly. Because you did
So,
represent Nikki. And the yeah.
yeah, that was fun.
I do like let's
Oh,
what
Tracy. We have to talk
yeah,
about Tracy.
we do not. Marco, the worst PI ever.
Okay, I find Marco sexy.
Really?
Yeah, I
Ooh,
don't know.
I don't.
I was like, all right, Marco, maybe one drunken night.
Yeah.
um, there's like, so last time we saw, Paul got really drunk, and Tracy was trying to have sex with him, and
Mhm,
he passed out in bed, and
mhm,
Marco was calling Tracy while she was trying to like seduce him.
mhm,
And she kept hanging up on him, and she was like, "You keep calling, I'm just gonna keep it off the hook so you could listen." And it was this whole funny thing.
mhm,
She ends up meeting Marco in bushes because they're spying on Jenny and the mayor,
the senator.
com- the senator,
Yeah.
conversating about their affair that they had and her pregnancy.
Mhm.
Which, okay, scandalous that it was the father and not the son, but also gross. And I don't understand why we're not focusing on more on that it's gross that a grown man got a 16-year-old pregnant.
Right.
That like it's not even like talked about that that's an issue.
It's a huge
She's
issue.
just like, I'm not going to tell anybody. Like, no, he took advantage of a child.
Right, it's
He should be
statutory
in
rape.
jail.
Yeah, it's statutory rape, number 1. Number 2, like, it's disgusting, like, it's not okay.
he couldn't find a secretary to have an affair with. He had to have an affair with a 16-year-old girl.
Mm.
It's gross, and
He
nobody's
was
saying
friends
it.
with his daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gross, and nobody's talking about it. And
No.
I don't think they're gonna.
Well, I feel like that's stuff kind of gets brushed under the rug in like the late 80s, early 90s. Because I'll watch other shows back now, and like there's literally like 23-year-olds dating like 16-year-olds, and like it's just okay. I'm like, it's not okay.
That happened all the time, especially in 90210. The boys would always date older
Oh
women
yeah.
that were,
Mhm.
like, clearly in their early 20s, and it was never an issue, but if the girls did it,
Mhm.
it still kinda wasn't an issue, but I felt like it they acknowledged the age difference.
Right.
But then even nowadays, Riverdale, they did the whole teacher-student affair thing that they did in the
Mhm.
'90s with Dawson's Creek and
Yeah, they did that. Yeah.
Pretty
Mhm.
Little Liars,
Mhm.
which is so bad. I on my part, because I was shipping the student and the teacher, and that's just wrong.
It is wrong. Mhm.
I don't know why Hollywood does this, but they did. Anyway,
Mhm.
so that was my issue with that storyline.
Right.
But so Marco has a recording.
And
They have
he
like one earpiece, and it was just so comical. Tracy wanted to hear, so she took the earpiece and she couldn't
yeah.
hear anything because then they're like reading the instructions, and the yards that they were away from it is why they couldn't hear it.
Mhm.
And they were being so loud in those bushes. I'm like, why does nobody hear them?
Yeah, how do they not hear them? Like, they're literally not that far away.
Um, so I guess Tracy's paying for Marco to stay at the Port Charles Hotel,
Mhm.
and they go back to his room to go listen to the tape,
Mhm.
and they get caught by the security guard and Julia.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Tracy just keeps saying, "Oh, we're working on a project. We're working on a project." And
Mhm.
she has a feeling that Julia's not really buying this. I think she thinks Julia thinks that he and him are
You're having an
hooking up.
affair. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets into the room and he ends up being able to fix the tape, and he plays it for Tracy, and she's very happy.
Yeah.
So then she's being abnormally no, she goes back to Paul, who is asleep now,
Yeah.
and she tries to act like she's been there all night.
And she lies and says that they made
She
love,
said that they made love and it was great, and she's ready to go for round
and
two. And he's
Paul's like,
like,
"I
"Oh,
would
I don't
never
know if
make
I."
love to you."
He's like, "I don't know if I can go again. I'm very tired." So that was interesting because it was actually the first time Paul wasn't like, "Ew, Tracy, what do you want? Get off me."
Yeah.
It was just funny.
Mhm.
But the next morning, Tracy's abnormally nice to Jenny and
Very
says that they should
abnormal.
have tea together.
Yeah, 'cause she wants her ideas for redecorating, which is
Right.
funny because she can't really redecorate because it's Monica's house.
Right. Is it Monica's house because of like some like one of the divorces or
Alligator for in the divorce or something, their first divorce.
okay?
Yeah.
It's not even Alan and not Alan, Edward and Lila's.
No, well, it still even comes into play today. Tracy will be like, "It's my house," and then Ned will be like, "No, it's Monica's house."
Does Monica still live there though? Or
Well, she's, well, sh
but
I
I
think
know she's
Leslie's
like she
probably
hasn't been on
ill and,
screen.
like, she's still, like, on bed rest or something, like,
Oh,
I
okay.
would say Monica's, like, not feeling well or, like, whatever.
Oh, okay. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Um, so they end up meeting, I think, either at the Port Charles Hotel or is it the
Porch House Grill? There's a
Grill?
grill. I think the grill's inside the hotel,
Okay.
the restaurant for the hotel, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and Tracy immediately puts the tape player on the table, and Jenny's like, "What's this?" And she plays it, and Jenny immediately hears the senator's voice and knows what it is, shuts it off.
Mhm.
And I like how after she shuts it off, Tracy's like, "Let's get that tea."
Mhm.
So Tracy puts it on the line. Um, Basically, what I took away from this is her whole beef with Jenny is she is very aware that her husband wants Jenny and possibly vice versa. So
Mhm.
she's basically like, "You're gonna stay away from my husband. You're not
Mhm.
gonna touch him, and if he
Mhm.
tries to touch you, you're gonna stop him."
Yeah, you're gonna
And
stay
she's
away
basically
from
like, "You're gonna give me grandchildren with
Mhm.
Ned.
And you're gonna quit your job.
You're gonna
You're
quit your job."
Mhm.
And I think pretty much she's just gonna do anything that Tracy asks of her, pretty much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so I guess she agrees to that.
Yeah.
Um,
And Paul still comes and visit her, and she's like, "No, you gotta go," and I don't
and
know.
then she has like a flashback to that time she almost fell off the ladder and he caught her and he's like, "I'll always be here to catch you." And,
Yeah.
um, so that was that. But they were all together as a one happy family for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It I like I said earlier, it was so funny to watch that and not there be a disaster. I was like, "What is happening here?"
So the episode after it was the episode that I think Lucy was hiding in the department store
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
I took note or mental note that they were playing Christmas music, and I thought that was fun.
Mhm.
Um, it kind of made me like in the Christmas spirit a little bit. I'm always so stressed around Christmas time that I feel like I don't ever actually get to enjoy it. So when I hear Christmas music not
Mhm.
around Christmas time, I really like it
Yeah.
because I don't have the stress of having to shop.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so I'm excited for Christmas in July/August,
Right.
and then real Christmas will be here sooner than we know it.
Yeah, we'll probably
Um,
watching Christmas of '93 by the time that comes out.
um, so I don't know if Lucy did this on purpose because she's a little bit vindictive,
Mhm.
but she lets herself into Scott's apartment
Right.
and has a glass of wine,
Mhm.
takes her clothes off,
Yeah,
and
gets
leaves them in the living room for
yeah.
anyone to see. Um, I don't know if at first we were supposed to think this was Dominique because they don't show that it's Lucy. They just show her bare leg and foot getting into the shower.
Right, well, didn't Dominique go to New York, and why would Scott think that Dominique was in the shower? That's what confused me.
I don't know, maybe because of the wine and the women's clothes, he thought that maybe she stayed. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
And he hears the shower.
Mhm.
That's his apartment, right? It's not Dominique's because I remember there was some like, "You're gonna move in with me." No, you're gonna move with me when they
That's
decided that they
yeah, yeah, it's
when the judge
Scott's
decided
there.
they weren't getting divorced.
Right. Mhm.
And they were talking about closet space and um so then yeah, so he takes his clothes off and I think he says Dominique and he says
Mhm.
I don't remember what he said, but he was being flirty.
Mhm.
And Lucy opens the curtain and exposes her naked self to Scott.
Mhm.
Um which they've been together, so it's not nothing he hasn't ever seen.
Mhm.
But she's doing it on purpose because she saw him and Dominique, and I feel like she's jealous.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We had a flashback, I guess, of when they broke up.
Oh, yeah, yeah, remember, yeah, like, when she left the show a couple months ago, yeah.
What was the reason they broke up?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll find out in the dialogue why they broke
Yeah,
up.
maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we're revving up for a triangle here.
Yeah.
That should
Scott,
be
Lucy, and
interesting.
Dom, yeah.
It's interesting because I guess once Serena becomes a factor, I
Mhm.
feel like whenever Lucy or Scott mention Dominique, Lucy has an affection for Dominique.
Yeah, they become friends.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, that's how it ended. That was like the big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
For November, we finished November sweeps.
Hey. Oh, this is one thing I wanted to mention. Felicia, I didn't realize that Felicia lost her memory when she got back to Port Charles, and that Ryan like followed her like immediately after he killed his wife, and like then he like chloroformed her or something, and like, or I guess he gave her an amnesia drug or something, and right away, and then that's when she lost her memory.
Right. I
Yeah,
kinda took note of that too, and I was like, was it the chloroform that made her lose her memory, or did he, like,
he drug her with
drugged her
something.
after.
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of
I think I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
my understanding of that changed also."
right, exactly.
We actually got to see his wife speaking to, Felicia in one of the flashbacks.
Yeah, they had a little flashback of that. Yeah,
She looked familiar or sounded familiar, but I didn't care to look her up because I didn't
yeah, I
really
don't
know
know
the
who
character's
she
name, so I'm like,
is.
I don't care."
Yeah,
But
she's just a little flashback scene. She's
but
but
yeah,
yeah,
I hope that, this trial doesn't, like, drag on into February sweeps.
with Felicia,
Yeah,
yeah. I hope that Ryan wakes up and like, oh no, she didn't do anything, and I'm not a serial killer, and then they kind of go back to not normal, but like Ryan still evades the police or something because they still can't find proof that he's a serial killer, and everyone,
I feel like Ryan, if he does well, when he wakes up, is probably gonna if he doesn't have amnesia, he's gonna fake amnesia,
oh my god, that's wow. I think you're right.
really, just to keep
I
Felicia,
think
like,
you're right.
torturing
That,
Felicia. Like
oh my god, I think you're correct because I remember them mentioning that night and Ryan faked having amnesia.
really?
I think you're right. Yeah. Now that you said that, I think you're right.
That just feels like something in his wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, Ryan. He's just devious. Like he's so smart. He's one step ahead of everybody else. Always.
Oh, we saw little Susan, Paul's daughter, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
But anything else?
No, that's it.
Alright, well, if you're watching this, you probably noticed that we have our little Venmo at the bottom of the screen, so if you feel like donating to the podcast, that would help us out. Whatever you feel like you want, $1, $5, $100.
Mhm.
Um, also, as always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps, and until next time, have a great night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.